Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I'm trying to demonstrate how I trade these traps. Um, Notice we had a new high right here, and it's not a new high for the day, but it's a new swing high. Notice these swings going up here, and this is a new swing high. We had a first entry long, a pullback, a second entry long, and it failed. And so a break below, any break lower makes it that's what makes it a failed second entry long. Um, it could turn into be a short trap in the end, but generally, you know, we're looking for a retest here anyway, so I was looking for a reason to get short. And generally these traps work out really well. So, but I thought I would record this today and just show you how I do it. Now our stop, we want to move it to 2 ticks, no more than 2 points. So mine always stops out at 2 points, or starts out at 2 points. But I move it, I tighten it 1 or 2 ticks above or below the signal bar. This is our signal bar right here, so I moved it 2 ticks above that, and here we go. And you see I've already scalped out. We didn't quite get our 5th tick. I'm going to move this, go ahead and move this down. It'll automatically move down to break even. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a little room. I'm going to move it to 1 tick above that bar. But we already got our scalp. I'm still looking for a new low, and we may get another leg like this. Let's just see what our target would be if we can get a second leg. But we've had a break of this little trend channel, so a new low could reverse this back to the high side, and that's definitely a concern. But that would be a measured move, so let's get inside that a couple of ticks, and once I get a little room here, I'll tighten this to break even. But hopefully we can get a little measured move here. We can go ahead, and that would give us 90, about almost 3 points. Give us about 2.5 points on the runner if we can get it. And we had a little overlap here, so it doesn't surprise me that we're pulling back, a little breakout pull back. And that may be all we're going to get out of it. We'll just have to see how it goes. And I hate to give it all back here, but I hate to pull my stop too quick, too tight already, and get stopped out before we get a chance to really make some money here. But anyway, you've seen how I did that trap. You could have just scalped out, and sometimes that's all they're good for is a scalp. So I may be risking this a little bit here, but I never tend to be able to demonstrate how I do the runners. It seems like anytime I decide to record one, they automatically come back and get the runners real quickly. So I'm going to give one a little more room, since I am expecting a retest here, and we'll see what happens. And I could have left this. I mean, there's any way you can manage your runners. I could have actually left my stop above the signal bar here and given it more room, and used what I made to help offset any losses if it did back up. There's different ways you can manage this. I generally like to scalp out, move my stop to break even or break even plus 1, so that I don't lose anything on the next on my runners. I scalped out on 2 and kept 1 runner in this case. And you can see prices are we're finding some support there, which doesn't surprise me. But generally these traps work well, and that was the main reason I wanted to show you this video, was to show you how I trade these traps. And so far, the trap portion worked out perfectly. Are we going to get a runner? Okay, that bar ended. What I will do is tighten 1 stop above that bar. And maybe we'll go lower first. I'm hoping we do. Just have to see how it works out here. Prices are really, it's gotten kind of quiet. Prices really aren't doing much at all. But you notice how it kind of surged downward there once it broke lower, and what it did, it hit the stops. Sometimes the traps don't fool a lot of people. With all that overlap, it may not have fooled quite as many people. You can see we had a similar setup here. Um, it wasn't as strong a trap as, well, I say that. It doesn't look like as strong a trap, but evidently a bunch of people got trapped there because it did rocket down really quick. But it was probably not necessarily so many people that got trapped, but people that were all along deciding they had to exit right there. And their stops were probably tightened up to there, and that pushes it down real quick. And most of the people that got long right here probably placed their stop one tick below, and that's why it surged downward like that when it broke lower. There appears to be some buying going on here. So we may get stopped out of this. We may only make 3 ticks on, I mean, we may lose a tick on this last one. But we basically made 8 ticks on the 2 that we scalped out on. If we lose a tick here, then we'll end up making 7 ticks. A little less than $100. But maybe we'll get lucky and this thing will continue on down, and we'll make some more money. Let me make this a little bigger here. Oops. But you can see the new high, first entry, pullback, second entry, and it was a failure when it broke below this bar. If it had broke below that one, it would have been a failure there, but it broke below right here, so that's when it became a failure. And what I consider a failure is it didn't get 4 ticks on the second entry before it turned down. And it's the break below this bar. I mean, it could back up here and not break below, and it wouldn't be a failure. It has to break below one of these bars before it gets its 4 ticks. And I'm getting a lot of questions on these lately, and they seem to work so well. And you saw how quickly that one worked. We were in and out, and you know, we may end up getting our runner on this too. The market has definitely slowed down quite a bit now. But you notice we're back up here around the 1700 area, and it's going to be hard to get through there. That's you know, these century areas are very emotional areas, very strong areas where people get emotional around those areas, and so they're difficult to break through, and it may take several tries to get through there. But you can see we got through 1700. It took a while. We've slightly got through, but we had, let me go ahead and just show you what I saw this morning while we're waiting on something to happen. We had a little uptrend. We broke the trend line, and it's really, I think there's 2 measured legs up there. There's your first leg up, and then there's your second. It's not quite a measured leg, and we may be, you know, but the market, the real clue is, notice how nothing could really get through. I talked to another, and I got stopped out there. So we lost a tick on that last contract. So we only made 7 ticks there. But notice how after we broke it here, we made a new high, and then we made another leg up to another new high. It's not quite a measured move. But where I was going is, notice how everything is still above the EMA, and nothing can really get through. We kind of pierced it just a little there, and we didn't really get below it till here, and now we're kind of on both sides. So we're really, you know, my guess is this is just kind of a trading range for now, and it may just be a pause before we go higher. It's hard to say at this point. We just have to ride it out, but you can see that support area right across there. There's a big overnight gap. It's way down here. That's what this is. I think I mentioned it the other day. I generally just like to put a line there so that I don't clutter my chart up with all this stuff. But there is an indicator for those of you that have a hard time finding this. It's called current day open, high, low, and it generally shows you where the close was the previous day, and it'll show you the highs and the lows of the day. So this is the low of the day, this is the close from yesterday or the open today, however you want to look at it, and this green one's the high of the day. And it looks like now we're just really headed to the other side of the range. I'll go over some of the trades here. There was a nice this really wasn't a second entry long because we made a new high here, but you know, if it's close enough, I really like that bar right there. You probably, if you entered on this one, you wanted to use a limit order, and it worked perfectly, and that's what I did when it broke above there. I used that limit order. Okay, sorry I had a slight interruption, but yeah, you know, I liked using the limit order there. When it broke above, I dropped it in there, tick or two in, snaps back, and looks like you could have got filled at least 2, maybe 3 ticks. Probably 2. It might have been 3. I think I only had it a tick in. You can't get too conservative. If you do, you'll miss some good trades. And then this one is really similar to a failed second entry short, because you got a lower low here, first entry short, second entry, so you got 2 legs up that fail. That's always a great trap. And then you had 2 legs up, but you don't want to be shortening this. I go through this with people all the time. Until you get a trend working in the other direction like here, you cannot go short because you see what happened. And if you try to short these kind of trends too early, or you're just gambling, and you'll probably lose. And I get that question more than anything is, you know, somebody will say, well, there was a break and 2 legs up, and then I went short and I got trapped. How come that failed? Well, the trend is still strong. We've never got below the EMA anywhere yet. This was the first little pierce, and you see how quickly it reversed out of there. And this is just a trading range. So when you see this, you got to go in trading range rules. And the only way you can enter this with the bias being up is to buy these little bitty. This you might could have entered here, and if you found a way to enter on a limit order here, and then it's getting too tight right in here. But you do have a failed second entry short here. First entry, well, actually the failed second entry short, that's even, no, it's not really a failed entry short. It is a big reversal bar off of the bounce off the low, a little higher low. Notice these 2 were here, and then we made a little higher. So you still could have bought here. This is like a breakout pullback long. I was thinking it was a failed entry short, but it's similar to this pattern because we went a little higher here. So it's really not a failed second entry short, but it's close enough. If it looks like something, it's probably going to act like something, just like I talked about over here. And this is kind of a similar pattern to this one. And with that reversal bar, again, it's a big bar, so you probably want to use a limit order, but it's so strong you probably don't want to go more than right at the top, or maybe 1 tick in. And it looks like, you know, if you did anything more, I just used a stop there. I just dropped my stop in and took that one. And then we went up. I actually went long again right here. It's 2 legs back, so it's a second entry long off a 2-legged pullback to the EMA, and then of course we started selling off. Second entry short here, 2-legged pullback to the EMA. We had a little failed break higher. There's a good chance we're going lower. I like that for a short. And then the failed second entry short there, you could have gone long, but there wasn't really a break of this trend channel. And you see it took a little bit to get out there, but it was a trap. So if you decided to take that one, I would have circled that one in green. It's a little more risky. And then I was done for the day. Did this trade just to kind of demonstrate that trap there. And I'm pretty much done for the day. This was a really good move up through here. And somebody asked me, you know, how do you trade that right there? Well, if you didn't get in down here somewhere and you're not managing a runner, you got to be real careful with it. You got to wait on a second entry. You got to wait. And not only is this a second entry long, notice that this is a little trading range here. It's a failed break lower. It's 2 legs back. There's a couple different reasons you might want to go long right there. And you got to realize that you're probably going to have to fight a pullback or so. Your stop has to stay down here. You can't be tightening your stop in these kind of moves here. You'll just get stopped out only to see it go exactly where you think. But you can't give it any more room than that, because if it goes below that, and you see it still struggled to get through that, and it took a trap almost. It's kind of like a trap, but this is it looked like they were going to trap them to the short side, and then it went short again. So it's just a little two-legged correction back to the trend line, and you know, I drew that line right off those closes right there, those first two bars, and it was perfect. And let's see how it ended up fitting down here just as well. And then we get the reversal, and we're going back for another test higher. And really, this is just a trading range now, and you can see we're finding resistance up here again. So we may stay in this trading range. We may go higher. We could come down here and make a failed break lower and then go higher. Or we could just finally get a trend working down. They give up at that 1700 level, and we go back down and start testing support. But there is this big gap down here, and there's a lot of breakouts areas. You know, we're going to probably come back. If we start working down, we'll start testing these lows all the way back down until we find support, and then it'll go the other way. But that's the key. You got to enter at these strong support and resistance areas, and they're either angled or flat. But once you find those, that's where all the magic happens. So keep that in mind. But that's probably going to be it for today. I guess I could go back and circle these trades. And that's really a second entry long right there. It was early this morning before I got started. I'll circle it. If I'd have been here, I probably would have taken it. We talked about those. We talked about that one. That one. Oops. And that one. This one maybe, but it's definitely green. And then that one for a short. So that's what I saw today. And I'm done a little earlier than normal. It was a really good day. To me, it felt like a fairly easy trading day compared to some of the other days we've had lately. And these are all longs here. A long, a little more aggressive long, and then the short that I just demonstrated. So, and then that was it. And really, you probably could have reversed here and gone long. It's you know, the problem is when you're in one direction, you're concentrating on it. It's hard to reverse and go in the other way. But with time, you can do that. You know, I don't recommend it if you don't have a lot of experience, because a lot of times what will happen is you'll have it right and you'll just get a little blip or something, and then you'll get fooled in the opposite direction, and you'll get whipsawed both ways, so to speak. So, you know, if you're going to do it, start out doing it on the simulator until you get better at it, and then maybe you can consider doing it more. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.